We need fathers in our land today. We need men who will stand by their babies that they conceived. We need men who will stand by in the home and be the role models, no matter what their culture is, be it Hispanic or black or white, it doesn't matter. We need fathers in the home. We need spiritual fathers. We need fathers of the faith. We need fathers who aren't afraid to model for their family what a worshiper really looks like. We need fathers who aren't afraid of letting their children see them fall on their faces before God and pray. Mama ought not to be the only one who prays in the home. Daddy needs the role model for the children. This is what worship looks like. And look, real men do worship. Real men do pray. Good morning. Welcome to the Real Life Church telecast. My name is Jim Miller, pastor here at Real Life Church, and we are thrilled and honored to be able to share a message with you today that we preached just this past Sunday, Father's Day, where we talked about the need for a revival of fatherhood. I encourage you, if you know a single mom, if you know a family that is struggling, where the father is absent, the father is not there, he's not the priest of the home, call him up. Encourage them to tune in, because they're going to hear some things that have the potential of radically changing their lives. We need fathers again. We need fathers of the faith in the house of God. We need fathers in your house. We need fathers in every house to steer the way and prepare a people for the coming of the Lord. God bless you. Listen intently. You're going to learn something that's going to help you today. Fathers are a needed commodity in today's culture. If you've not paid attention, then perhaps you're unaware that our nation is in great peril at this time. And in no small part, these perilous times are the result of a lack of fathers in many segments of our culture and society. In many places, fathers are missing. We have lots of babies' daddies, not a lot of fathers. And without fathers, young men turn to thuggery looking for family. And they look to the streets to find their mentors. Without fathers, many young precious women fall prey, P-R-E-Y, to the players who promise love but have none to give. We need fathers. Because fathers, listen, I'll get to my notes in just a second, but we've got to reevaluate father. And we need to cast off the stereotype that Hollywood has presented of father. Have you ever noticed how TV, the sitcoms, always portray the father as a bumbling buffoon who never knows what's up, and mama's always the answer? And they have downgraded to the father to such a degree that in our culture we think that children only need mama's love. Statistics prove that's not true. A child needs mama, but a child also needs a father. Without a father to model what true manhood is it any wonder that so many of our young people are in confusion? The greatest thing a father, I wrote this down so I wouldn't forget to say it. The greatest thing a father can do for a child is to love their mother. So that they portray, listen, that the father portrays to the young man what true manhood is, so that they learn at home such old-fashioned things as chivalry, gallantry, and courtesy. Wouldn't that be a revolution and a revival if all of our young people were gallant again? if they understood courtesy, well, they learned that at home by daddy, by the father. When a father loves the mother as Christ loves the church, then the young girl will see for her modeled what true love is. And she would never permit herself to be treated like trash by some loser who uses, abuses, and then discards. The role of go ahead and go to Malachi chapter 4, verse 6. We'll start there. While you're turning there, let me give you a quote by the late Dr. Ed Cole, who in my opinion was one of the greatest voices in American history. He said, any man can make a baby, but it takes a special man to make a father. We need to honor fathers so that men understand that the role of the father is a miraculous role, a vital role. I once read that a good father fulfills the 5 P's of fatherhood. I know you're in Malachi. Hang on, I'll get there in just a second. These are what sociologists tell us are the 5 P's that good fathers engage in. Number 1, problem solvers. Number 2, playmates. Number 3, principled guides. Number 4, provider. And number 5, preparer. When I meditated on that, I was going to try and touch on each one of these, but I just couldn't get off number 5, the preparer. Because when I read that, it made me think that in Malachi, one of the earliest proclamations of the operation of the gospel of Jesus Christ had to do with the restoration of the fathers. Because here's what I want to say to you, that without fathers, we are a people ill-prepared for a move of God. Without fathers, listen, young people don't know who God is, how God operates, what He wants, because their hearts have been disconnected from fathers. Do you think that the enemy has no reason when he attacks the family that the first role he goes after is the father? Who's usually the first one to leave the broken home? The father. The reason why the enemy goes after the father is because he knows if he removes the father, he destroys the family. The word family means primarily father's house. So if father's gone, what kind of family is there? It's a broken family. It's a broken home. And the enemy knows if he can destroy the building blocks of the culture, is this okay this morning? Without fathers, there is religious and social decay in every culture. So the enemy wisely goes after the father. And people stupidly allow the fathers to go their way, thinking, don't need a man, I don't need a daddy, don't need a husband, don't need a father. But I want to say to you this morning that we need to reevaluate and appreciate and call back in prayer fathers, because we need fathers in our land today. We need natural fathers. We need men who will stand by their babies that they conceived. We need men who will stand by in the home and be the role models, no matter what their culture is, be it Hispanic or black or white. It doesn't matter. We need fathers in the home. We need spiritual fathers. We need fathers of the faith. We need fathers who aren't afraid to model for their family what a worshiper really looks like. We need fathers who aren't afraid of letting their children see them fall on their faces before God and pray. Mama ought not to be the only one who prays in the home. She ought not even be the primary prayer. Daddy needs the role model for the children. This is what worship looks like. And look, real men do worship. Real men do pray. And once again, Dr. Ed Cole said that Christ-likeness and manliness are synonymous. If we don't see it, then we can't mimic it. Are you in Malachi yet? As we pursue the spiritual operations of the gospel, the signs, the wonders, and the miracles, and those are valid and those are desirable and we ought to pursue them, we need to be aware that life is not only spiritual, that there's an emotional aspect of life. We are emotional creatures. Emotions are not part of the fall. God gave us emotions. So there's an emotional side of life, and there is a relational side of life. We need each other. And it's the relational side of life that is one of the earliest declarations of the operations of the gospel of Jesus Christ. And telling what would happen when the Messiah came, Malachi prophesied these words, speaking of the forerunner, the one who would come before Christ. And he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers. Listen to this. Lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. The Lord is saying of His Messiah, of His promised one, that if there's not a restoration of the hearts of the fathers to the children, and to the children to the fathers, when the Messiah comes, the earth would inherit a curse and not a blessing. Think about this. At the time of Malachi, the people of Israel had disconnected from their spiritual heritage. They had divorced themselves from their fathers. Every man did what was right in his own sight. And if a people lose their legacy by divorcing themselves from their ancestry, they will lose their sense of destiny. Fathers provide identity. Do y'all know that? Fathers give us our sense of legacy and provide for us our sense of destiny. But without being connected to the heart of the fathers, Israel had lost its way, lost its place, and lost its destiny. And this is why when the Messiah came and Israel as a whole had not heeded the voice of John, they had not returned their hearts to their fathers, when Jesus came as the Prince of Peace, He had to say, do not think I came to bring peace, but a sword. Now this is one of the most amazing things. Think about, Jesus never could change His character. You understand that, right? And yet the Prince of Peace said, I didn't come to bring peace, but a sword. To divide houses, fathers against sons and sons against fathers, and to separate mamas from their daughters. Was that Jesus proclaiming that was His heart's design? Or was that He saying this is what's going to happen because the people didn't heed the voice of John? So because the people had not heeded the voice and restored themselves to the spiritual place of hooking up with their fathers, Abraham, Moses, David, when Messiah came and one accepted and one rejected, there was division in the house, not because God ordained it, but because no restoration had taken place. I'm going somewhere with this. See, all of us are crying out for revival. I think most churches in America, we shudder at the violence that takes place in houses of worship. Many of you probably shed tears what happened in Charleston this week. When my wife was watching TV, she said, look at his eyes. He looks abnormal. That's evil, people. That's evil. And we cry out for a move of God. We cry out for revival. But one of the things that we have to understand is that help me, Father. There needs to be a restoration, an orderly restoring of the Father to His place, lest should God move, most of us would be ignorant of the fact that He's moving at all. Because I want to show you in just a second that this restoration of the hearts to of the children to the fathers and the fathers to the children was meant to prepare a people for the moving of God. I'm sorry, but I had to interrupt myself to come to you and offer you a personal and urgent invitation. We are now located at 1704 East North Street, just 5 minutes from downtown Greenville. We used to be inconveniently located. Now we are conveniently located. And I wanted to urge you, if you're enjoying this message, if you enjoy the telecast, you'll like our worship even more. You'll love our children's program. You'll love Real Life Church. If you're looking for a safe place to learn Christ, I encourage you, I invite you, I urge you, come to Real Life Church this Sunday. I'll be looking for you. Now, let's go back into the telecast. You see, a father's role is much more than just to bring home a paycheck. A father's role is not complete when he brings home a paycheck and sits on the recliner and disengages from his children and his wife. A father's role in church is needed. We don't need men who just come in and sit down and do nothing. We need men who are going to worship God, who are going to be role models of faith, so that the young people can observe that's what a man is. Look how he's worshiping. He dances before God. Listen to Malachi chapter 4, verse 6 out of the Contemporary English. He will lead children and parents to love each other more, so that when I come, I won't bring doom to the land. Isn't that amazing? The Lord said that He's going to reconnect the connective tissues of the culture, the father and the children and the father, so that when the Messiah comes, He doesn't bring doom. See, we talk about all kinds of revival, and thank God for the revival among children. Thank God for the revival among teens. But we need a revival of the fathers. Go to Luke chapter 1, verse 17. While you're turning there, let me say this. A fatherless people is an unprepared people, a vulnerable people, and a susceptible people. Without a father to tell us this, this is how God moves, this is how God operates, we are susceptible to deception. To think that anything that shines and shimmers and floats by and has feathers must be God. Because we need some fathers in the house to say, this is how God moved in the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s. This is how God moved in the generations. We need that connective tissue. So sons can learn from their fathers. So that's what God looks like. Don't think it a small thing that the Father of heaven, through whom all the earth derives its name, gave unto men His most precious title, Father. It is He who will, speaking of the forerunner, John the Baptist, it is He who will go as a forerunner before Him in the spirit and power of Elijah, to turn the hearts of the fathers back to the children and the disobedient to the attitude of the righteous, so as to make ready. Do you see this? To make ready a people prepared for the Lord. Now here's what's amazing is John, of the Gospel of John, said of John the Baptist that he did no miracles. And yet Luke tells us that John the Baptist, the forerunner, came in the spirit and in the power of Elijah. Elijah had one of the most amazing miracle ministries in the history of humanity. Y'all remember Elijah, don't you? The one who sat by the brook and was fed by ravens, and when he was done with that, he went and found a widow at Zarephath, and he ate her cake, multiplied her oil, raised a child from the dead, faced down the prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel. You remember Elijah, don't you? Called down the fire, then foresaw the rain, outran the chariot. He had an amazing miracle ministry. And it said of John, who did no miracles, that he came in the spirit and in the power of Elijah. And then it says, to turn the hearts of the fathers back to the children. What does that say to you? What it says to me is that is as a miraculous an act for the hearts of the fathers to go back to the children and the children back to the father is as big a deal as anything that Elijah did. What this means is this: fathers, you are a miracle. You're a miracle because you stayed when it would have been easy to run. You became engaged when it would have been easy to disengage. That you stayed on the playground when you'd rather gone into your man cave. Fathers, you are a miracle. Your role is a miraculous role. Every day you do miraculous things. For you guide, you provide, you protect, you nurture, you solve problems, you help heal the land, you hold back and fight off the curse. You stand between your family and the enemy who would seek to destroy and kill. Are there any fathers in the house? You are miraculous people. Do not allow yourself to be degraded and devalued and think that your role is insignificant and you mean nothing. Never believe that the family can do just as well without you as they can with you. Because without this restoration, the people will be unprepared for the move of God. Do you see that? It's in the Bible. So as to make ready a people who are prepared for a move of God. I firmly believe that one of the reasons all revivals seem to sputter out, I don't believe because God grows tired. You following me? Can I meddle just a little bit? Pensacola didn't die because God got tired of Pensacola. These different revivals we've had don't sputter out and become objects of shame because goofy things are That's not because God got tired of being involved. I firmly believe it's because that move lacked fathers. And it lacked that connectedness where the children who were learning looked to the fathers who knew and said, teach us the way. You see, part of this equation is just not the fathers. It's the removing of the arrogance of the children. And that's something you see in our culture today. I see an arrogance among young people that I think was unknown even in my generation, and I ain't old. I can't imagine responding to adults the way I hear children do it today. I was raised by my grandma. She would have tore my cheeks off my face. She didn't spank me, but she grabbed those cheeks and twisted them. Just because you know the algorithms of Facebook and Twitter does not mean you know the ways of the Spirit. You need a spiritual father to teach you that God moves in a certain way. It's not a mysterious way. It's only mysterious to the uneducated. But if you'll listen to fathers, we need fathers today. We need boys to become men and men to become fathers and fathers to stay and take their place. We need fathers not only in the natural realm, we need fathers in the spiritual realm. We need fathers not only in the home, we need fathers in the church. We need fathers in the governmental institutions. I wrote these words, listen to this. This is fathers bring back. This is what we see in Malachi, and I believe it's as true today as it was for Israel. Because we see so much in the operation of Israel a mirror of America today. Israel had lost its way. America has lost its way. Israel lost its way primarily because they disconnected from the teachings and the heart of the fathers. America has lost its way because we don't even remember who our founding fathers were. We don't know what they said it, why they did it, how they gave. We don't know our spiritual fathers. But if we reconnect not only to the heart, but to the culture and to their mindset, that connective tissue will be restored, and America is not too far gone. And we do need a revival. But it's not just a revival of signs and wonders. It's not just a revival among the young people. It's not just a revival in children's church. We need men to come to church again. We need men to stand up and say, I am a father. We need men who've never had children to become fathers. You understand what I'm saying? There are some homes where daddy will never come back. Find a young man and be a father to them. If you're 28, father an 18-year-old. If you're 38, father a 28-year-old. If you're 48, father a 38-year-old. Find somebody. And take responsibility for something besides yourself. Because our nation needs fathers. To the degree that you become a good son to God, you become a good father to your children. To the degree that you become a good father to your children, you become a good son to God. Do you see that? Do you know part of the reason why God chose Abraham to be Abraham? Because God said, I know that he's going to teach what I teach him to his children. It wasn't Abraham's good looks. I don't know if he was good looking or ugly. I don't know if he had an Elvis pompadour or he was bald-headed. I don't know if he was tall or he was short. He wasn't chosen for those things. He was chosen because he would be a father not only to his family, but he would be a father to the nation. And through being a father to the nation, he would be a father to nations. Because the one thing God knew of Abraham is he is going to model for those who come after him what I teach him. We need Abrahams today. We need fathers of the faith.
Thank you for watching today. If you were blessed by today's message and would like to hear more, we would like to offer you a free audio CD of this message in its entirety. Just contact us here at Real Life Church using the information that's on your screen. Ask for your free copy of today's message. This is our gift to you. We know that you will be blessed.
Be sure to get this month's special offer. For a donation of any amount, Pastor Miller would like you to receive his book, The ABCs of Dream Development. It has touched many lives, and I know that it will bless you.
We would like to invite you to come and worship with us this Sunday at Real Life Church. Worship begins at 10:30 a.m. Come and see how God is moving and be a part of something special. We hope to see you there.